All right, let's dive into something fascinating today. We're going to talk about a personality type that's defined, well, not really by what they say, but by that powerful, quiet moment before they say it. We're talking about the incredible strength of a deliberate mind. You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. The second something leaves your mouth and you're just like, ooh, wish I had a rewind button for that. It's that feeling of just reacting a little too fast. But what if? What if that pause button was actually a built-in feature for some people? You know, it's so easy to just throw the word introvert around and think it means one thing, but it's actually a whole spectrum with four really distinct types. Today, we're going to zero in on one of them, a group whose greatest strength is something our crazy, fast-paced world just doesn't get. It's often misunderstood or even completely overlooked. And that brings us right to our main subject, the restrained introvert. So, who are they? What makes them tick? Okay, so here's the most important thing to get right off the bat. The restrained introvert isn't necessarily shy, and they're not antisocial. Their number one defining trait is their pace. They just operate in a more measured, a more deliberate way. And look, they're not slow, they're intentional. It's a huge difference. And yeah, that can sometimes get misinterpreted, right? People might think they're aloof or not interested, but really, they're just processing everything. So what does this actually look like day to day? How does this deliberate nature show up? Well, it all boils down to one key habit. This, right here, is their superpower. Before they give an opinion, before they make a decision, even before they jump into a conversation, they pause. And let's be clear, this isn't about being hesitant or unsure. No way. It's a conscious choice they make, something they practice. It's like the engine that drives their whole way of being. But why? I mean, what's the point of that pause? It's all about getting their internal world in order before they deal with the outside world. And this really gets to the heart of it. When we hear nervous impulses, we might just think of anxiety, but it's so much more than that. It's any gut reaction, that flash of excitement, that spike of anger, that wave of impatience, anything that could cloud their judgment. They're creating this little buffer of time, this space, to let all that stuff pass so they can think with total clarity. This is such a great way to see the difference. A reaction, that's your knee-jerk thing. It's instant, it's automatic, it's all feeling. But a response, that's different. That's considered. That's driven by careful thought. And restrained introverts, they live and breathe in the world of the deliberate response. Okay, so this might all sound a little bit abstract, right? But what's actually going on in their head is a pretty structured process. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's happening during that powerful pause. It's basically a three-step habit. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly profound. So, step one, they just observe. They're taking it all in, listening, watching, gathering information without jumping to any conclusions. Then comes step two, they analyze. This is where they're weighing the options, kind of running simulations in their head, thinking through all the possible outcomes. And only after all that, we get to step three, they formulate. They craft a response that's as thoughtful and effective as it can possibly be. Okay, so what's the payoff? Why go through all this trouble? What are the real-world benefits of doing things this way? Well, they're actually huge. Think about it. When you consistently choose to respond instead of just react, you just plain make better decisions. Why? Because they're based on facts, not just feelings. The things you say become more meaningful. Every word has weight. And people, they start to see you as this super stable, reliable person they can count on. And for you personally, you get a lot less of that, why did I say that feeling we were talking about earlier. So if there's one thing I really want you to take away from all this, it's this right here. Our culture is obsessed with speed, and it's so easy to mistake being deliberate for being slow. But for the restrained introvert, this isn't a weakness. It's a finely tuned skill. It is literally the definition of being intentional. So I'm going to leave you with a question to think about. We live in a world that is always screaming, faster, faster, react right now, have an opinion on everything, instantly. But in that world, what could you gain? In your job, in your relationships, even just in your own peace of mind? What could you gain by choosing, just for a moment, to hit pause and be deliberate?